Hello guys, it's Decent Opinions here, and today I'm just making a quick video. I don't know how quick it will be, but I just want to point out how retarded Hillary Clinton is, basically. Hillary Clinton's probably got to have some of the worst sort of political decision making I've ever seen of any politician. And yeah, I know it's a bit harsh, but I'm going to explain why in this video. Basically, her actions, before, during, after the convention, have just been retarded, plain and simple. Basically, Hillary, the reason she's so stupid because, Bernie Sanders, he basically, nobody knew who the fuck he was. I didn't know who the fuck he was before the primaries. But obviously, he almost won it, The guy who nobody knew about, the DNC was against him from the start. Obviously, now it's proven because of the emails. He almost won. And what does that show? People are sick of the establishment. And that's what Hillary is. Hillary is the establishment politician. And people are sick of that, Hillary Clinton, all she knows is to be the cookie cutter, mould, establishment politician, with the flowery rhetoric but no substance behind it. That's all she knows. And if she keeps that up, the way she's making decisions right now, she's going to lose. I mean, she thinks that, being an establishment centrist is popular, like, Bill Clinton and Tony Blair, like those sorts of people that were very popular in the 90s. But people are sick of that now. People realise, oh, they're just bullshitting us again. So people are really fucking fed up with the establishment. So, that's what Donald Trump figures. Donald Trump, I don't like Donald Trump. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I don't really know. I honestly couldn't pick. But Donald Trump, he's really pouncing on that, It's kind of weird how a Republican in this race is more anti-establishment than the Democrat. I mean, that's almost unheard of. And it's also, 20% of Bernie supporters might vote for Trump. That's insane. I mean, in 2012, 20% of Hillary supporters, or 2008, 20% of Hillary supporters in the primaries wouldn't have voted for McCain. That would just be unheard of. But, Donald Trump is capitalising on the anti-establishment further. Even though I think he is wildly authoritarian and he's lying, he's capitalising on it. He's got the better rhetoric. Like, I've just got some tweets here to prove this. Crooked Hillary Clinton has destroyed jobs in manufacturing in Pennsylvania against steelworkers and miners. Husband signed NAFTA. Funny that the Democrats would have their convention in Pennsylvania where her husband and her killed 70 jobs. I will bring jobs back. Again, he's hitting that economic populism. The anti-TPP stuff. People are, people think, they got sold short of the TPP. They've seen all their manufacturing jobs outsourced to third world countries where they could pay their workers fuck all for, really intensive work. So, Detroit, obviously because General Motors was their main employer, all of the General Motors cars are now built, in foreign third world countries, and all their jobs have gone, and the government had to come and bail out GM because people, just couldn't get jobs there anymore. So, and the thing is, like, blue collar workers really like Trump. That's where he appeals so much. Like, the only people really in the Republican Party who really don't like Trump is the establishment. They're scared of Trump because he's not a typical politician. He's not part of the Washington elite. He's an outsider. Even though once I believe he does get power, he will be an authoritarian. Open up the libel laws so we can sue the media when they say stuff about us we don't like. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Donald Trump is coming out against NAFTA, saying he will bring back jobs, and he's a Republican. Usually the Republicans love outsourcing jobs. They love making maximum profits. Even though I think Donald Trump is kind of a hypocrite because he exploits NAFTA, but they can also be positive. He could be like, yo, I was just a businessman. I was exploiting this, and because I can use this, that shows how bad it is. He can use that as a positive and a negative. But I mean, Hillary Clinton should be coming up against NAFTA, but guess what? She lobbied for it over 30 times. She's like, oh, I'm not against NAFTA, I'm not against NAFTA, just because Bernie Sanders was against NAFTA, and that was a very popular thing. And that's the thing, Hillary Clinton is just so arrogant that she keeps snubbing the base. I mean, another thing here, another Donald Trump tweet, Tim Kaine has been praising the TPP and has been pushing hard to get it approved, job killer. I mean, Tim Kaine, probably one of the worst VP choices Hillary could have chosen, because who does Hillary struggle against? She struggles with white people, and she struggles with millennials. Now, who in the primaries did they overwhelmingly support? Bernie Sanders. You know, Tim Kaine, who is he? He is pretty much just Hillary Clinton with a penis, to put it bluntly. You know, he's the same establishment, sort of centre-right, corporatist Democrat, and that's not what she needed. She's like, I need white men to support me, so I pick a white man. They vote for another man with a penis. How fucking insulting. Like, Hillary Clinton, her, you know, the way she speaks, the way she makes decisions, she insults our intelligence. As, you know, people, like intelligent people, you know, she just, you know, it's like, oh, shut up peasants, you know, I'm the Democrat nominee, of course you'll vote for me. And her arrogance is going to kill her. I mean, Donald Trump right now, he's up in the polls. Because you know what, he's, you know, he also, you know, obviously he's arrogant too, but he's not, he doesn't snub the base. He panders to the base. And you know what, Hillary Clinton, she's pandering to the wrong people. She's pandering to the centre-right Democrats, and you know what, they're not very popular, you know, they're not a sizable amount anymore. I mean, now today, loads of millennials, they're sick of the establishment. Hillary Clinton needs millennials on her side. You know, people aren't just going to vote for you because you've got the Democrat symbol next to your name. You need to prove to us why we want to vote for you. You know, we can't, she just assumes that, oh, I'm the Democrat, so they'll just, you know, fall in line and vote for me. I don't have to do anything for them. And it's insulting. People think, no, fuck you, I'm not going to vote for you. I'll vote Jill Stein, I'll vote Gary Johnson, I might even vote Donald Trump. Or, you know, you might just sit out and not vote. But honestly, I think Hillary Clinton probably would be more safe than Donald Trump. Whether she'll be better, I don't know. But like, who would I trust more with nukes? Definitely Hillary. I definitely trust Hillary more with nukes. I mean, Donald Trump could probably send out the nukes because, I don't know, the leader of Mongolia insulted his hair or something. You know, he's obviously he probably wouldn't. You know, I'm just hyperbole, but you know, Donald Trump is unhinged, and I don't trust him with nukes. But even so, you know, I don't think he's that insane. I think people sort of exaggerate about how insane Donald Trump is. Like, I think, yeah, he's bad, but I think he's probably just saying what he's saying to get elected, you know, just like any other politician. That's the thing. People, like, also Hillary thinks, you know, oh, Donald Trump's mix of economic populism and xenophobia isn't going to work in America. It very much is. I mean, you know, obviously America is sort of, you know, split into two parts. You know, you've got like the South and the North. In the South, you know, xenophobia and economic populism is very popular. The Republicans love that. You know, they love the sort of anti-immigrant rhetoric. They love, you know, the sort of, you know, bring back blue-collar jobs rhetoric. And, you know, Donald Trump is supplying that, whereas Hillary, she's just being the typical establishment politician, and people see through her. They see through her lies. People don't trust her. They've constantly seen that she's lied and lied. There's that 13-minute video on YouTube of Hillary Clinton just lying. And yeah, people are fed up with the establishment, and the fact that she picked Tim Kaine instead of, you know, someone like Elizabeth Warren, you know, someone who is, you know, sort of more left-wing than her, to appeal to the sort of more liberal base of the Democratic Party, she's just snubbing them. And she's committing political suicide, in my opinion. She just thinks, you know, oh, I'm Hillary Clinton, people will vote for me over Donald Trump because, you know, nobody wants to vote for Donald Trump, you know, they'll just vote for me because they don't want to vote for Donald Trump, but that's not how it works. You know, if people see no good reason to vote for you, they won't. I mean, if I was in America, I wouldn't vote for Hillary. Like, the only person I probably would have voted for in in America is Bernie Sanders or a third party. I mean, obviously now Bernie Sanders has lost. I would have voted for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson, to be honest. So, you know, if Donald Trump keeps this up and Hillary Clinton keeps being retarded, she's going to hand the election over to Donald Trump. You know, if she keeps up also with the sort of, I'm a woman, you know, I have a vagina, vote for me. If she keeps up with that rhetoric too, people are going to be like, ugh, you know, stop insulting our chest. We're not going to vote for you just because you have a vagina, you know. I mean, I wouldn't mind a woman president. Like, I don't really care what gender the president is, but I would, you know, if we're going to have a woman president, I want a good one. Like, again, Elizabeth Warren, she would have been a perfect woman president. But Hillary Clinton, no. I mean, honestly, I think if Hillary Clinton was a man, Bernie Sanders would have coasted to this election. Well, maybe not, because, you know, Hillary Clinton thrives on name recognition. Like, she is pretty much, you know, the Clintons are like the monarchs of the Democratic Party. You know, they're the top dogs in the Democratic Party. And the fact that some random senator from Vermont almost beat her, it just shows how much she's coasting off of that, you know. She's relying so much on her celebrity status that she just arrogantly thinks she doesn't have to care about the base. And you know, the base aren't little minions who you can dictate to. You know, they're intelligent people, and if they feel like you're not serving their needs, they're not going to vote for you, Hillary. You know, and your stupid actions is going to hand this election over to a madman. I mean, people often think, oh, you're criticising Hillary, so you're for Donald Trump, right? No. I mean, the reason I criticise Hillary so much is so that she gets her act together, you know, starts, you know, working with the Bernie Sanders supporters and, you know, embraces their views. But she isn't. And she's, you know, the Bernie people aren't going to vote for her in that case. They're just not. You know, and obviously there are some people out there who literally, like, yeah, they're like, Hillary's a woman, so I want to vote for her because she's a woman and breaking down the barriers. And people do that, they're just retarded, you know. This identity politics bullshit, you know. It's gone way out of hand, honestly. I mean, I'm not sorry about that, but it's way out of hand. And people need to wake up and realise, you know, it doesn't matter, like, just doesn't matter what race the person is, doesn't matter what the gender the person is, just what are their ideas? Are they good or bad? And vote for them based on that. And Hillary Clinton's ideas are bad. Plain and simple. You know, she's pretty much like, hey, you'll get a change, you know, breadcrumbs, you know. She'll pretty much carry on business as usual, and you know, business as usual isn't working, and she'll, you know, she'll throw in a little change here and there to keep the peasants, you know, in line. And I mean, she's pretty much good. I think, honestly, like, if I could, I would take another 4 years of Obama. Obviously, I'm not an American or anything, so I can't vote, but if I was an American, I would take 4 more years of Obama, to be honest. Even though Obama isn't any better, like, I feel like he is still the establishment, but he's as, like, far left as you can be while still being in the establishment, you know? Like, I genuinely think he does care about left-wing causes, but because he's in the establishment, he kind of has to pump the brakes. And, you know, be in favour of, like, corporatist things, like, you know, pander to his donors. But Hillary Clinton, straight up, she just wants to be the president so bad. Like, she doesn't want to be the president, she wants to help anyone. She just wants to be it because of, you know, the status behind it, the power, the prestige behind being the president. She just wants that so much. You know, she wants to. I think Donald Trump said, you know, Hillary wants to be president for Hillary. And he also said, you know, Hillary says, I'm with her. You know, I say, I'm with you, the American people. And even though he isn't, you know, that's going to work. And people see through Hillary. They see she's just a Machiavellian monster who wants nothing more than power for herself. And, man, before I blabber on anymore, I'm probably going to end it here, but please again leave your opinions in the comments, like and subscribe, and see you later.